Do. What's up, everybody? What's up, everyone? This is the Carefree Black Nerd back with another podcast. We're going over Tom Swift. This is Decoding Tom Swift podcast, a Carefree Black Nerd review over the new sci-fi, queer-friendly, focused show, Tom Swift on the CW. Ready to get this going. I am your co-host, Rhayne Coleman, the Carefree Blur, and I have with me today a familiar voice. It's going to be a familiar face going forward. Please let these folks know who's on the show with me today.
What's up, y'all? M. Haynes, author, educator, doing everything under the sun. Here to talk about some black stuff, some gay stuff, some sci-fi stuff, and to talk some stuff.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for coming on, for going through this journey with me. We got, is it 10 or is it 13 episodes? Oh, that
I
would
feel
have
like
been nice to
13,
figure
not
out.
100%.
Oh, something like that. It's at least 10. We know that. So oh my God. Okay, so y'all, we're going over the first episode. Tom Swift premiered Tuesday, May 31st, 2022. And I think this is his official pilot after that backdoor pilot that was May of last year, 2021, which premiered in Nancy Drew season 2, episode 15, The Celestial Visitor. Was the first time he appeared in the Nancy Drew universe. So, this episode though is and the Liftoff to Saturn. Tom is shaken after the shocking disappearance of his father, thrusting Tom into a breathtaking adventure full of mysterious conspiracies and unexplained phenomena. Getting right to it. How do you feel? How do you feel seeing Tom Swift here after seeing him a year ago on Nancy Drew?
Man, a year ago, it's been a long time coming. I've been sending them a watch, like, come on, where's the show? I'm ready.
Yes.
So I'm really glad. I was really glad, like, to finally to have this premiere to really kind of get to see what they're gonna do with this show as a whole. Because I had never looked at an episode of National Drew before, but they got me in for that one, and I liked that. So I was like, all right, give me more, and I finally got
Yes.
it.
Oh, good. I much like you, and I think you are the reason I even tuned in. I feel like you messaged me or something and was like, "Hey, this nigga gonna be
Sound
this."
the
You know,
alarm.
so yeah, and so I was all in because I remember after hearing about it, going to look at Nancy Drew to see like, oh, do I need to watch like 3 or 4 episodes? Just getting my feet wet, so to speak. And I actually enjoyed the Nancy Drew episodes I watched. I watched the 2 before that episode, and then I think the one after. And I didn't stay with Nancy Drew, nothing wrong with the show, but I was watching and reviewing so much at the time, I couldn't take that on. But I enjoyed the depiction of Tom Swift on her show. I loved his conversations with Nev, the black boy in Horseshoe Bay.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
him.
and so them, having that black camaraderie and whatnot. So all in all, it was a good first appearance to me, and I wanted more. I craved more, and a year later, prayers have been answered.
Yes.
Okay, getting right to the show. General thoughts. How do you feel like you watching the first episode? What's going on? What's going on in your mind? How you feeling?
This big smile. Big smile. Like, I really enjoyed it.
Mhm.
I do have, like, a couple of things, and we'll probably get to that later, but for the
Mhm.
most part, I really enjoyed it. I think it's an interesting premise.
Mhm.
I'm excited to see kind of where they go with it, because I can see some good stuff coming from it. And I think it's a good cast too. Like, a lot of these people,
Oh.
well, ain't a lot, but most of these people I recognize from other stuff. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. So I'm
Mhm.
really excited to see where it's going, because I think they had like a pretty good start.
Good. Much of the same. Much of the same for me. I think, generally speaking, this was a strong opening episode. There was a lot going on, but I do think that it was enough to sink your teeth into. That if 3 or 4 things that went on wasn't really to your liking, there was bound to be something that you could kind
Right,
of latch onto. And
right.
yeah, I'll be remiss if I don't mention the why everyone should be watching Tom Swift article that was written for blacksci-fi.com. That will be linked in the show notes as well. You can check out my words and the reasons why everyone should be watching. And I think this opening episode really showed us that it's very much a CW show, but it's very different from a CW show. Yeah, I've been seeing some critiques about it, and we're only on the first episode. I don't have an issue with folks not liking things that I like, so it doesn't bother me. I just hope that within the critique of the show, that these people give this show at least 2 or 3 episodes before truly diving into their bashing or their they're being vocal about it.
I mean, I have a thing. I give any show that I watch 3 episodes. If you can't catch me in 3 episodes, then okay, your show is not for me. This was even if you want to count the backdoor pilot, which you kind of shouldn't, whatever. Even if you want to count that, this is just your second like introduction to this character. So you should definitely give it some time to kind of like to find its footing. But some people may not agree. I am a person who unapologetically love shows like Batwoman and Legends of Tomorrow. Hashtag save them both. So I'm used to kind of like giving shows time to kind of find their footing and then like do what they do from there. And I feel like we have too many people who will watch one episode and be like, "Oh, this is the worst thing on earth." And one, it never really is. But two, like pilots are hard. Pilots are hard. So it's hard to kind of like to set up a world, a cast of characters, and to set up a plot and make it so that like it's still engaging and not just like here's the whole thing and then next week we're gonna get to the stuff. So give it a chance, give it a shot. Let it find its footing.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I also want to say, keep in mind what networks may have their hands in. This show, however, was reported that CW was like, "Hey, go do it, do more, be gayer, be freer, do more, be blacker." But that's not even to negate some of the things. Like, it's still a CW show; it's not an HBO Max show, so you're going to get things. And if CW shows aren't your jam, don't let that be the reason why you don't have positive things to say about this show. I'll leave it there. My goodness. Okay, so opening episode, Black family, Black excellence, billionaire, tech. What are our thoughts on like the perception, like the first impressions that we're getting of the Swift dynasty?
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of like that first opening where Tom Swift is like talking about himself, talking about the family, and we kind of like are following Zenzi through the house. It reminded me of Bel Air, like when Will first gets to the house and he's just like looking around, it's like mind blowing. It's just like what in the world have I stepped into? Like it kind of gave me that, like like this is some wealth and opulence beyond what you're gonna see in other places. So that kind of got me intrigued. Like, okay, all right, I see what we're going for. Like, I'm along with the ride.
Yeah. Oh, much of the same. I liked it. There is I'll say like you, I do get the Bel Air vibes, and of course with April Parker Jones on there, that's definitely amplified. But I do like this talented 10th or 1%, this idea of this wealthy, I don't know, shit, I'm just saying this wealthy Black family. And though there may be critique like capitalism and whatever else, and is this what we aspire to be, I think this is a show that definitely gives you that fantasy element. I'm not saying it is right to be a billionaire and have all this wealth or whatnot, but for the show and what we're getting, I do like this tech heavy tech spy angle that we're going with. I thoroughly enjoy that. So the billionaire thing makes sense to me. It isn't. Yeah,
I get it, but if people gonna still be going up for Batman, I can have Tom Swift.
Come on. I'm just saying. It's him and Tony Stark. They got stands. They got diehard stands. No, you're right. You're right there. I first and foremost, having Braxton as Barton Swift, This man will forever be Braxton.
I saw him in the trailer, and I was like, "Not Braxton and his daddy." I did not see that coming.
Hey, he is working. CW is paying him. When he showed
They
up in
are.
Black Lightning, I was like, okay. And now in this, I'm excited for him. I'm really interested to see what role he plays going forward, considering the end of the episode, figuring out that, spoiler alert, he's still alive. I wonder how big of a role he's going to play and what is that going to look like? Because I would love to see more of him. Just for nostalgia's sake, I want to see more of him. So the family, we introduced to the family. There is the Saturn spaceship takeoff ceremony or whatnot. Tom is absent from the press conference. Claire steps up. The actress's name is Brittany, the Asian lady, and I like the representation here. Having her as the kind of right-hand man for his father, and then in Isaac, the representation we're getting with Tom's personal muscle. I like that it is a lot of POC. I'll just say it. I like that it's POC, shoulder to shoulder from top to bottom.
Right.
I'm loving that. What are any comments on the representation in this episode?
I mean, no, exactly what you said. Like when we see Tom first, but like when the second person we see is I can't remember. I think her name is Ashley.
Ashley Murray.
Yes. Okay.
Zinzi,
I'm gonna say when we see Ashley Murray just walk into, and it's like the first person we see on screen is this dark skinned black. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, we're here. All right, let's go.
Yes, indeed. I'm here for it. I don't know. I'm just really here for the fashions, because I'm loving what they're doing with the clothing. I'm here for the tech, the story, of course, but these beautiful people on screen. Like everybody in this show is fine. I'm just saying, everybody on this show is fine.
Oh, yeah.
And, my God, I am even, low key, not even be funny. The congressman, who I'm not a fan of, I feel like he has an aesthetically pleasing face. He ain't, with the rest of the cast, no shade to him, but he ain't hanging with them. But this is like, and I wonder if Tom Swift is honestly, the show is just normal. It's just we have not gotten the representation to look like this in a while, or to maybe this degree, because I know with CW, my critique has always been when there is a black or brown person on screen, they're usually paired up with a white partner, or the cast themselves is not too diverse, and if they are, they're racially ambiguous. So I'm wondering if my years of watching CW, that this show just presents something that I've kind of been, looking for with every other show. And so now it's just fantastic, or if it's just this is a regular show.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't even just put that on a CW. I feel like that's a thing like across the board.
Oh, yes.
Like, unless it's like specifically marketed as a black show, which is another thing. Like, you're gonna get that. You're gonna get the racially ambiguous folk. You're gonna get the white partner. You're gonna get the one black face in a sea of white faces. Like, happens a lot. So yeah, I mean, we should applaud, or at least be thankful for this show kind of pushing against that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm with it. That's one of the things that drew me to it. And just watching the trailer alone, I'm like, oh, this so black. Some of the villains probably gonna be black instead. So that's that. Okay, so one of the critiques, which was kind of odd to me, and I do want to speak up to it since we're discussing the opening, was the complexion of Lorraine and Barton versus Tom. Go ahead and speak to that if you.
Sure. So I ain't gonna lie. Like when I rewatched it, I was like, But then I had to think about it. Like I had to kind of go back in my mind and like look at some of my own family members and be like, okay, well, stuff goes genetics. I didn't do Punnett square. I don't remember that stuff from science and stuff. But like that stuff, it pans. It kind of it's a wild card. Yeah, it did give me pause. I give it that, but it wasn't enough to be like to take me out the show.
Yeah. I guess for me, because I've seen this specific combination like in my real life, much like you said with family, it didn't really bother me. I'm kind of sitting with that to see if there's something going on with me or if it's just like, nah, whatever. I'm happy to see it. And then I think also, again, for it being Braxton as his dad, that's kind of giving me like I'm excusing any of the stuff in the back of my head that would have been like, what is this? Like, whatever.
That is Braxton.
Look, hey, now if Jamie Foxx and Fancy show up on here, I'm hey, this is definitely getting an award for me. So we go through Tom and his father have a conversation. His father's like, hey, look, you messing up. You not really stepping up to the table. Why are you in here messing around? And I like this conversation, however kind of triggering it was, this conversation between the two of them, because there's this kind of underlying, kind of blatant disappointment from Barton on Barton's part of Tom, but then there's this idealist that Tom is. It's like, well, yes, that press conference is important, but I'm also doing this thing that's going to assist with you going to Saturn. And that back and forth was so, I won't say stressful, but for lack of a better word, it was stressful as hell. Any comments on that specific scene about the sensitivity and the lab and whatnot?
The trigger. That's my comment. Like it's it was a familiar conversation. And I can, like I said, I can get both of their perspectives. Like Barton is like, you got to put your responsibilities. Like you basically got to get your priorities in order. Even if you are in here doing this thing that's supposed to be beneficial, you should have been done that. You can also do like this public facing type deal. So I mean, I get where he's coming from, but I don't know that whole sensitive and
that was something. So I did the press day for this show, and that's one of the things that was brought up, which was you're having these conversations and not really focusing on like Black trauma in this show. And even though this is triggering to some, and we've seen this played out, I felt like it fit within the show in a way that wasn't just kind of beating us over the head with you're gay, look at how terrible you are, you going to hell. Like it wasn't this, it served a purpose. It wasn't just random stress for no reason. And that's something I hated, but
it was one of those things where like I feel like Barton was choosing his words very carefully to try to like show that he was disappointed, show that he was upset, but not go into that whole. It was a very like public persona type of thing. It's very like calculated. Like I'm going to say this so that you understand how I feel. But without really completely shut me down, it felt like a Braxton thing.
Look, it was a lot. It was a lot at first, second watch, but I get what they were doing. And at the end, when we do get the reveal that he's not dead, I that scene makes so much more sense. I never thought it was like out of place, but at the end, I was like, all right, this makes sense. You want to drive home that there's trouble, and hopefully this will be rectified later, which is something that's picked up on from Nancy Drew. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say that just made me like, and that's another reason probably why you have to have like that very particular conversation, because if the dad was just gonna come out straight up out of the gate and be like, "You're gay, you're disappointed, you're going to hell," we wouldn't have cared that he was still alive. Like, I wish he still was dead. Like that would have been the audience and like really trying to turn us against him. So they needed that like softening of the word.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know. It's just that conversation. I'm stuck on it. I'm trying not to be, but that whole scene, and even with Zinzi being there in that first exchange, like by eyes, her and Tom, and he's like, just go ahead, I got this. But oh man, this brought back some memories. So,
yeah.
yikes. Okay, but in contrast, Lorraine, do you have any thoughts on Lorraine and her very pro my gay black son that she
Yes,
is?
I loved it. Oh, I loved it. I was like, I wish, but it's just like really, like it was really good, like to see her not only be like not as confrontational, but to be like flat out supportive, be like, hey, I brought you a man. Like that was good.
Yeah, that was very surprising to me. Not her being open and supportive, but the whole, here's Justin. He saw your interview in New York Times or whatever. He saw your shoe collection. I'm like, okay, which I mean, moms do that, but I think just again seeing a mom that's doing that for her black gay son, who's visibly black, features, complexion, and all of that, it's something that I don't know. That alone makes me love the show.
Yes.
Just,
So
oh
you
my
don't get that.
god.
You don't get that a lot.
Yeah, not at all. And like I said, it's a lot of times it is the B plot, it's the token character. But this is a show completely devoted to Tom and his black self and his black love with other black folks. How do you feel about Justin as the potential love interest?
I like him.
Mm-hmm.
He's cute. He's fine. But I like the other potential love interest a lot more.
Come on. I mean, hey, you're not wrong. You are not wrong. I feel the
I
same
mean,
way.
I will happily accept if it ends up being Justin, I will be perfectly fine. But if it's the other one,
yes.
now we got
So,
a show.
y'all, Tom has no shortage of love options to choose from. Justin, I do think much like you, he's a nice guy. He's a nice looking guy. He sends nudes. Clearly, he sends those pics. And he's nice. But for me, Rowan, the congressman's bodyguard, or Isaac, Tom's personal bodyguard, I'm definitely. And Isaac, Marquise Vilson, please, if you are interested in a date or someone to like talk to on the phone, or I don't know, wave to, have a texting relationship or friends, I'm here because let me tell you, this show has no shortage of beautiful people to look at.
It does not.
Isaac is on the top of my list. I'll say that. Whew, so Justin's cool, and I'm okay with him. I really honestly, but speaking of Justin, I do like I don't know what he does at all. I've watched this show several times. I don't think it's the shortcoming of the show. It's just I've been focused on other things. But
he a lawyer, I think. Because later on they say something about using his, I feel like they said something about using his law connect. So he's like an intern or something.
Yeah. And but I like that. I like that they've weaved him into the show to be more than just the love interest. So when we do get that later on exchanging of information, which to me, that's where the show really felt like CW. When Tom meets back up with Justin after discovering that his father's spaceship was attacked and it didn't like blow up on its own. And he has the conversation. They talk about what is the name of that company? The Illuminati style company that only wants to see us in the dark ages and not progress. Technology. It was like stone, like evil stone, evil angry men, something. I don't know, but
it was the something back.
Look back,
something effect.
Yes, it's something. But I was like, man, something about that scene felt very CW to me, and it's not really a bad thing. It's just I was like, oh yeah, I know what network I'm watching. This definitely feels like, I don't want to say Riverdale because I think that's a bit of an insult, but it felt very DCW of them. Um,
Yeah, I don't know.
you know,
Because that's the thing that like you see in stuff sometimes. Like some people feel like, oh, technology has pushed forward too much. We need to like bring it back, whatever have you. I mean, yeah, that's the thing that happens in like shows and movies and games and stuff. But ain't nobody doing that like for real. Especially not against like this billionaire family. Like that. Oh no.
Look, I mean, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it for what they give me. But I was like, okay, Stone Corporation or whatever you are. Speaking of corporations, can we please? Okay, during the funeral scene, Tom is grieving. His father just died. His spaceship exploded. A spaceship that Tom himself either created or helped create or did blueprints or whatever. At the funeral, Tom has to either give a eulogy or give a speech, and he can't do it. He's like stricken by grief, whatever. Zinzi comes in, and a phenomenal job.
Yes.
I do not like the Tubman social group, the Tubman Society, whatever. So homegirl Tubman talking to Lorraine is like, oh, it doesn't look like Tom is up for the being an adult. Like, how the hell did he get this from? I'm like, man, this is his.
Lorraine should have slapped her. Lorraine should have slapped her. Because what do you mean? Like, my husband just died. My son just tried to give a speech and just got overwhelmed. You up here talking to me about some Tubman Society? If you don't get out my face.
Bro, I was so mad. I was so mad at that. And I guess I get with it being a pilot, there's certain points you have to hit, and that would have been one of the things to reinforce that Tom is being irresponsible or not ready. But I was like, this is his father's funeral. Like,
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer before I say that.
Okay. But when we were introduced to the Tubman social group, society, whatnot, and Nancy Drew, my interest was piqued. I'm like, okay, what is this? Is this some Jack and Jill type stuff? I'm not against the Tubman social group because I know that they'll more than likely, hopefully, make them be a bit more welcoming or interesting going forward because I like the idea. But this scene in particular just kind of, that pastor, I wanted to shake that lady. Like, have you never had a family member pass away? What are you doing? What do you mean? So
it was trash. It was trash.
Yeah, she can keep that. So these folks are billionaires. We've gotten wealthy people in different shows before. In this one, they do certain things to show you like just how wealthy they are. Not even just like the cars they're wearing and the gowns and whatnot. But there's a scene where Tom, Isaac, and his cousin, what's that boy's name? Have to Lino, yeah. They have to get into the observatory of the local college. And Tom is like, yeah, let's not just break in. Let me give them a $20 million scholarship so that they'll throw a gala for me and we can go in that way. What? Well, I was like, what the hell? That was
even Lino in the scene was like 20 mil. I was like, bro, just drop 20 mil in the email.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with it because I feel like this is something outlandish that maybe not 007, but the spy aspect 007, but some Tony Stark, like you said, Batman type stuff. That scene just kind of took me aback because I understand that they're billionaires, but like seeing what that looks like for a $20 million scholarship endowment or whatever.
I think honestly that more than, like you said, more than the cars, more than the inventions, more than what they went, that more than anything else has told me, oh, these people were rich. Like these people were rich.
Yes, indeed. My God, they they ought to be, because what do you say at the beginning that their family's legacy is tech, but anything that you've touched in the last X amount of years with an engine is more than likely from us. So I get the setup, but I don't know, just something about hearing that number so willy nilly was a little surprising to my measly take home, my bi-weekly take home. So excuse me. Okay, so Lino wasn't in the show that much, but do we have any thoughts on him, the I don't know, maybe mixed race cousin of Tom Swift?
On the one hand, I think he's just a kid cousin, just I'm gonna say it's just gonna be around doing whatever, what have you. I do wonder though, because you talked at the beginning about it being about CW being like make it blacker, make it gayer, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Like the random cousin who's living with the family, that is a very black setup. Like,
oh, for sure.
So I want them to dig into that, to dig into like why he's living with them. Kind of give some kind of background around that, and I think that'll probably be when we get to see a little bit more of him. Because, like I said, right now he's just a kid cousin. It's just in the house because his mom and dad said, "Go stay with your auntie
in Bel Air." Yeah. So no, that's it. That's pretty much it. I'm interested too because I wonder. I think Lino honestly is a new addition. I think he's a new addition who's not part of the original canon of Tom Swift. But regardless, I would like to see how this came about. Like, is there some scandalous something, or is it just shit? They wealthy and they have better schools, so truly go stay with them. I wonder what that's about. If we'll get anything, I don't necessarily want. Okay, so of course I don't want a lot of black drama. I don't want a lot of slavery and whatever. But I'm not against like problems and issues. Of course, I would not want to be like, oh, Lino's parents are drug addicts, so this is, of course I wouldn't want that. But I want some like comic level, like somebody is backstabbed and killed this person and this chain of events, bro. Like, I want some silly shit.
I feel like there's a difference, like even, and this is just like a kind of a general thing. I feel like when we talk about like not wanting black trauma, there's a difference between just like sitting in something and just like, oh, this is the conflict that led to this. Like, if this was a show like we got 5 episodes, if they were drug addicts, let's just say they were drug addicts. If we got 5 episodes of his mama and daddy, selling themselves on the corner, trying to get their next fix, then okay, yeah, you're doing a lot. But if it's just like, if it's a setup, like, hey, his mom and daddy on drugs, here they are for the episode to kind of get you back to that, then that's conflict. I was like, that's the difference between them two. And I would be, like you said, I'd be cool with if that was a conflict.
I just want this show to win. I just don't want some. But I'm gonna get what they give me, and I'm gonna take what they give me. Let it go from there. So Tom has the gala thrown for him, or the cocktail party, or whatnot. I like how they tie in Zinzi, and she's been spending the entirety of the episode trying to get Tom to either develop or finance a soap for this particular company, because like her thing is, with your father gone, this soap is a lifeline for us. We're in the midst of all the money we've poured into that Saturn excursion and him and just the company in general, the people that work it. I like that Zinzi is like the voice of reason, and she's someone who I think grounds Tom, because it's clear that he is a genius, he's smart, but he's letting that get him away from reality, where you can be locked up in this tower in your house all day long because you have the finances where you don't have to go to work every day. You don't have to do nothing you don't want to. I like that. I like that between the two of them. I like their relationship.
Yeah. They're real good like foils for each other. They I think they work really well together.
Their chemistry is like through the roof, even in the blow up scene. So do you have any thoughts on that? When they committed the heist and Tom didn't come back until the next day, and him and Zinzi went at it. They went at
so,
it, bro.
Okay, so I feel like this is probably what I'm gonna have to say my little piece,
Come
because
on.
I get it, and I think
Mm-hmm.
it was important. I don't think we needed this episode.
Okay. Okay.
And I think that kind of is just like one of the things that's of like my one, I guess, like, I hate to say like critique or what have you of the
Mm-hmm.
episode. I feel like they tried to do a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like some of the pieces, some of the things that were in this episode could have been sprinkled throughout the first like 2 or 3 episodes. And I feel
Okay.
like that blow up was one of them. Like, I understand that you had to get Tom to like this low point, to kind of to show that, okay, that he's gonna be serious, whatever. But his dad that blew up in the opening of the episode, I think he was at the low point. We didn't need
Mm-hmm.
the fight to. So it was good. I think it needs to happen. I think acting wise it was cool, but
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it needs to happen necessarily in the pilot.
Okay. Okay, that's fair. Um, I'll say adding to that, this to me was the first instance of Tom being a
Bratty.
dick. Yeah,
Yeah.
like so I get they've set it up where this is a part of his personality, but as much as I enjoyed that scene and that conflict or that argument, that was I was like, okay, where's this coming from with Tom? Like when
That
this when he said, "Oh, something something, this is the Zenzi show," and I was like, okay, wait a minute, that feels out of left field. Y'all didn't
mhm.
establish that, and maybe this was the establishment, but I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
We
no, and
have
see,
never
and
been to the Disney show.
right, and see, and that's, I think that's why I'm saying like it should have happened like later on, because
Hmm.
she already had agreed to commit a crime with you. She'd already been hounding you for most of the episode, like I said, trying to pay for this soap. And like
Hmm.
all of a sudden you're accusing her of making this the Zenzi show. No, she's been chasing you to do
Yes.
stuff to do right. So it makes no sense as to why you would try to come out and be like, oh, you're being selfish, like let me do my thing. I was like, no, we didn't get there.
Ah, that was yeah, that was very weird to me. But like I
That
said, I
was
think because
CWism.
yeah, yeah, that was no. I definitely will agree. And again, I think that it was put there just to have certain things said so that you could reinforce my father's disappointed in me when he was alive. I couldn't do right, and now that he's dead, I don't have the opportunity. So I get that, and it hit home. Like I get it, but I was like, yeah, Zizzy been she been helping you since she stepped foot from Atlanta. What are you talking about?
Literally,
Yes,
literally.
yes. My God, yeah. She in that dress. I have to say, Ashley. Look, much like with Isaac, if you need a friend, if you would like someone to, I don't know, go shopping with, maybe watch TV with, Netflix, maybe rewatch Tom Swift season 1, episode 1, call me. Ashley is beautiful.
She
Oh my
is.
God.
She is.
My God. Oh, so the heist. How do you feel about the heist? So knowing this is a tech kind of espionage spy type show, how do you feel about that endowment cocktail party spy heist that they went on?
I honestly wanted more, to be honest.
Mm,
I thought it was a cool little thing. I would have wanted more of that, like to see more of Zenzi, like running her mouth, keeping the people busy, more of
mm-hmm.
what Lino and Isaac was doing. Like, I wanted more of that. I hope that we get to see more of that. I know I've seen in the trailer him with this bedazzled mask thing.
Yes, yes, that OnlyFans mask. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that.
So I want to see more of that, but I
Yeah.
think it was cool for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in future episodes, like, give us more of like this setup and like enacting this type of high tech heist type deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I would hope so. Considering the original Tom Swift, like that was his thing, like
Yeah.
technology.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping for more as well. I and I really want more because it seems like the show that you can really get away with doing a lot of green screen work because of
Yeah.
the tech. So
Mhm.
like, give me suffocate me with tech and whatever else. Because even with Lino's shoes with the hydraulics on it like that. Again, I don't work in television, but I would imagine it's just like some type of contraption, bungee cord, is like something that's a bit practical, where you don't have a jetpack on.
Exactly.
So
Like
I want more.
I feel like that type of stuff is like relatively easy to do. I mean, you sit at a computer, type some stuff up, say some science, jibble jabble, and go back to business.
Look, I did a poll at the end of the episode. Um, let's see if I can pull it up. I should have had this up, but it was really like about the MVP. Well, really throughout the episode, because live tweet. Oh yeah, make sure if when you guys watch this show on Tuesdays, live tweet, use that hashtag DTS Pod, Decoding Tom Swift. Did a few polls, one of which was the MVP. Unfortunately, Lorraine got 0 votes. Zenzi seemed to be the right. Zenzi was the fan favorite. Do you have an MVP? No. Let me not say that. How do you feel about Zenzi on her own? Like, of course, in the show, but that character. How do you feel about Zenzi?
I really liked her. I think she was a really good friend. I think her character was really kind of cemented for me when Tom got emotional on the thing, and she just like immediately stepped in and was like, "Here's a speech."
Yes.
It was genuine. Like, it wasn't just like, like a little media facing, like, oh, here's a pre-written speech that I have just to kind of, save his skin. Like, no, it was genuine. It was like really how she felt about Barton, and it had the added benefit of also kind of like coming to Tom's rescue. So I really like her as a character. I'm excited to see more of what she does.
I love that character. Ashley, to me, kills it in every role that I've seen her in. She is truly and honestly the reason why I watched Riverdale for as long as I did. I hate the way they did her character. Really, a lot of characters on that show, but it brings life to these. I'm trying to separate, see if I'm just a fan of hers, and so I'm just loving everything she does. But truly, like you said, that speech felt so real. In that story, though, of course, this is all written and scripted. She delivered a lot of this stuff with personality and attitude, and she just breathed life into this character to the point where I want to tune in next week. I want to see what she does to impact the plot. Like, I'm tuning in not only for Tom and Tien and all that, but for Ashley, for Zenzi. Yeah. What are you doing with this character? What are you wearing next episode? So, I'm a fan.
Rhayne, are we in another diva worship moment?
I think so. Listen, if her and Coco mess around and find themselves on a TV show together, that's guaranteed. I don't care what it's about. It could be horror. They could just go to the dictionary. They can sit back to back for a whole hour looking at the ceiling. I'm tuned in. Yes. I love it. I love it. Anyone out there who's doing the show, a way to get me tuned in. If you have Ashley Murray in any role, you guaranteed at least get me sitting down every week, live tweeting all that. I'm not playing. Oh man, she is so dope. Okay, so the instance where Tom disappointed Lorraine, I'd like to get into that. So, Tom, quote unquote, disappointed the Tubman Society because he did poorly at delivering his father's speech at his funeral, but he had a chance to make up, quote unquote, for it at the reading. What did Lorraine say that was? At the viewing?
Dedication.
Yes, I think that's what it was. It was something that sounded like maybe an event for his father. And he didn't show up because he was figuring out, what's going on with the Saturn trip, and then speaking with Justin because Justin had the connects to reveal that, surprise, surprise, the only white man on this show is the Spike Lee villain. So
hold on, wait. He's not a Spike Lee villain yet.
Okay, no.
Yet.
he was pretty calm, smooth, and normal now. So I take that back. But finding out that this man was the villain and all the ring, the signet, the Illuminati, all that stuff, he misses out on his father's dedication meeting thing. And Lorraine says to him, your father's gone. It's time for you to grow up. Not verbatim. Time for you to grow up but I have to take care of the family now. Come on, what you got for me?
I was like, where is coming from? Like, what you? I mean, we don't know. It's the first episode. We don't know what she actually does in the company or what have you. But I was like, are you finna? What do you mean? Are you about to be the CEO? Like, I'm confused. Like, that wasn't on the table. How did we get here?
And also, isn't Claire running the company? Like, what is happening? What is happening? I don't know. I think that they just really needed to drive home that, quote unquote, Tom is not pulling his weight. But I never got the sense from this episode, that Tom was supposed to be like actively doing stuff in the company. My assumption was he is a genius billionaire child of a tech giant, so he's able to play around and develop things in his free time. I never took it as you're tied to this company. I don't know. I guess to me, Claire was always the employee who does the work, and Tom to me was the billionaire kid who's able to use his free time to develop these things. Maybe I'm wrong.
The way that it opened up with him having developed a propulsion system or what have you, I understood it as like he's trying to be like a high up employee in the company.
Okay,
but because he like missed the opportunity or whatever in the beginning, his dad was like, "Okay, we're gonna get this to Claire instead." And so he's now trying to get to that position where he's like, this high up employee. And he may have still been an employee, he may have still just given some throwaway position just to give him on payroll or whatever. But yeah, I think he was trying to be like CEO.
I'm fine with that. It's just I don't know. It was just a weird turn of events for me. But again, I do understand. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that there's a way, like you can still have her disappointing him. You can still have her being like, oh, you could have been here to do this, whatever have you, without this weird thing of like, now I'm going to take over the company. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, I don't know. Someone mentioned, I can't remember where it was because I really want to give them credit. But the idea that Lorraine possibly is working in cahoots with the congressman, and she's the reason why Barton's spaceship exploded. I was like, now that's the turn. That is the turn. And because I would think that would mean maybe Claire. Well, whatever. I don't know, but that's.
I'm trying to think about how.
First, I was like, no. Yeah, my initial thought was like, no, I don't want that. But then I was like, I don't know.
There
might be some sinister Mama Pope stuff that we need. So I don't know, but maybe, who knows? Yeah, that was interesting. Tom eventually steps up to the plate, and he takes care of the soap proposal creation thing where it like does several things at once. Not only cleans your hands and like, I don't know, cleans your gas tank. I don't know, something.
There's a whole bunch of stuff.
It was something. And him and Claire, which I want to see more of them like being adversaries, but Tom and Claire have this moment where he's like, yeah, I'm coming for the company and such and such. And she's like, oh, well, you better get ready for war.
She was like, well, you best not miss. And I was like,
I want that. Yeah. I want more of Claire. I want her besting Tom, not because I'm not a fan of Tom, but I want to see her in more stuff, but I also want to see her like, just because you're a genius doesn't mean you're the best. Like, I'm just as capable. And the fact that Barton put her in this position to begin with, and she's clearly ready to come in. I want some Game of Thrones fight for the throne type, so but Zinzi even warned him. Didn't she say like homegirl is doing X, Y, and Z? So he's like, oh, you're being dramatic. No, fam. You ain't doing it. Right. My God. So I'm ready. I'm ready to see more of Claire. maybe we won't get a whole lot of home life or backstory, but if she has a love interest, if she got some, secret background stuff going on, I want to see more.
Let's go.
Yeah, I want it. One of the things I do like about this show is that I don't know what's coming. We've gotten Marvel and DC for so long, and they're based off of comics, characters, and storylines that we've read over the years or consumed in some way. With Tom Swift, it's a blank slate. They could go to space, they could fight a dragon. Like, we don't know what's coming. And that's part of what I like about this show. So even in the wake of the critiques, like the heavy critiques about the show, I'm still like, we're in uncharted territory here. So yeah, you may have had issue with the first episode, but like, we don't know what's coming next. Exactly. Like, Tom's going in a whale with a Lanvin OnlyFans face mask, and like him and Isaac and Zinzi are like out in the woods, and then there's some guy in like just regular street clothes who's like in the woods. We don't know what's happening. So like, give it a shot. I don't know. Dang. Okay, so Tubman Society, Zinzi, the writings on the wall. So the end, we get Father Swift, who has sent a message to his son, and it's coded in a way that's not through regular everyday transmission. It's a more of a dated. I forget what he said. It's probably gonna be a lot of that throughout this season. They say a lot of stuff. Right, like Grey's Anatomy, it's doctor, medicine, something. So some science thing made it so that I think he used more of an analog, whatever. We got the transmission. Father's like, hey, I'm in this escape pod. These folks mess with my stuff. I want you the one who can do this for me. And then I have one last thing to tell you. Message cut. Father's alive. Is this just a way for them to have Braxton, but like shelve him for most of the season? And because I'm like, I don't know how much it costs to get Braxton, but keep your butt over there until the finale. I don't know.
Actually, that may be it. I mean, I did think about that, but now I'm really thinking about it, because when I first thought about it, I was like, oh well, yeah, they save money on Braxton, but they have LeVar Burton. But then I just realized that LeVar Burton is a voice.
Yeah. And he's not even like, that's something you can easily pre-record. So I don't. It's not hair and makeup. Maybe a what they call that thing, whatever list you give off, like with Jolly Ranchers and stuff, the stuff you request. Maybe that, but I don't know how TV works. But I was just like, Braxton, he seems like he may come with a kind of heavy price tag. So maybe.
Yeah.
So we need him.
That may be the case, and even because I'm pretty sure that, because if for nothing else than because of Bel Air, I'm pretty sure April probably cost him some money too.
Yeah.
And the fact that they about to go on this like road trip, meaning you ain't gonna have to pay. So yeah, they probably be real smart with that.
Hey, give you beautiful gowns and fashions in the beginning and big names, and then we're gonna take these newer actors and send them on the road for 9 episodes. We'll double back at the end, because I ain't mad at it, but like, yeah, maybe we'll do a voice call. Yeah, because I was like, he's not coming back into the finale or the penultimate episode or something. Let's get into this like ending where the congressman who's been exposed, we know that he's the bad guy, has infiltrated Barclay, played by LeVar Burton, who's the AI that Tom created as a kid. I don't know how I feel about that. I was upset. I ain't gonna hold you.
My question was, I was like, when? I was like, when did that happen?
When and how? Like, are we blaming this on Rowan? Like, as the bodyguard, was he maybe able to maneuver through the mansion? I don't know when he did that. And that's,
I feel like that was something, even if it wasn't like, oh, this is when it happened, like we see Rowan or whoever like doing it. I feel like if they had just been, and maybe it was, maybe I need to watch it again, If there was like this thing in the background where Rowan like looks at the camera and kind of sneaks off, they kind of like, oh, that would be when he did it. Like even that would have been like, okay.
Yeah, they're gonna have to explain that because I don't. How you infiltrate Barclay? Nah, that's like his personal AI.
Right.
Nah,
that's
fam.
freaking Jarvis. Like, explain that to me.
Yeah, and also, does that mean you saw them nudes that Justin sent him? Like, what is like? How long have you had access? I would like to know. This is creepy. Don't do this. I'm okay with the congressman. I'm just hoping he's not the only villain we get this season. I don't need a ton of like big rogues gallery, but I do hope we get like I don't want Claire to be the only like next adversary. I want some more.
If I had to guess, I would say that he's gonna be the congressman is gonna be the person like leading up to maybe either mid-season finale or a little bit after it. And then we start to see kind of like just the very beginning of this big look back, way back, whatever the Illuminati thing is. And we see them up to the end, but we don't really like deal with that. Like that's an ongoing thing. And I feel like Claire is probably also going to be an ongoing thing for a minute, like them butting as rivals. Up until like season 3, where they finally become friends, and then we ride off to sunset.
Right, just working out together. I have a sneaky suspicion that Claire is more than what she seems. Now, I'm saying this, and it might be very clear to everybody else, but I feel like Barton would not have her on his team if she was just smart at her job. I feel like she with the introduction of the Illuminati style villainous corporation and then like having the Tubman Society, to me it stands the reason that there are things happening in the background that we don't know about. And I feel like if I'm Barton and I'm this billionaire tech genius, why would I surround myself with just an employee who's my right hand? Or, even like with Isaac, like Isaac is the bodyguard, but I feel like there's more to him. Like what Alfred style, MI6.
I almost said some of that before, but they sprinkled some stuff kind of in there. Like when him and Zenzi were dancing, she said something about him being a soldier or something to that effect. All right.
I'm telling you, Isaac, Marquise, you can. Never mind. So they yes, that's another thing I do want to mention. There was Isaac made mention of having an ex-girlfriend. I don't want to say crazy ex-girlfriend because I'm not sure if those are the words he used. But speaking with Zenzi, which they're probably gonna have a thing too, she was very kind of taken aback or shocked at the word girlfriend. And Isaac said, "What do you say? A trans man can't have a crazy ex, something like that." And that line to me was so big and so important, even more so than the conversation they were having. And I say this as someone who does not identify as trans, so if this is incorrect, please let me know. But I cannot recall a time on TV seeing a trans person who was not, how do I put this, not just like a supporting character. And I'm not thinking like Pose or anything where that is the focus. I mean, a trans character that's just another character on the show. And this idea that you don't think I could have an ex-girlfriend, and playing golf for laughs, it's like, yes, we're getting with Isaac this hero, this person who we don't usually see on television. And they have this very shared experience that a lot of people have. Everybody has an ex or somebody you used to like or whatever. But I don't mean to like blow this out of proportion, but again, seeing this trans person who is the muscle for one, Black, visibly Black for two, and then also we're discussing their love life in a way that isn't like tokenism or isn't like, oh, they're trying to deceive, like all of the other fake worries that you have when it comes to a conversation about trans people. And so for that, like that line alone did that for me. Again, I'm not trans, so if you're trans and that's incorrect, let me know. But I was like, you don't get this. I haven't seen this. So
see, I agree with that, with the whole like you don't get like that sort of humanization. That's really kind of what it boils down to. Of a trans person, I took that line completely different.
Okay, go ahead.
When Zenzi had that sort of like emphasis on girlfriend, I thought that she thought that I'm gonna say that he was gay, and she was surprised he had a girlfriend ex, and I took him replying is like, oh, you don't think trans dudes have like crazy exes, as him being like joking around, like, yes, like I'm bi-pan, etc., what have you.
Oh.
I went a whole different direction.
Okay, well, look, there you go. That's the point of the show. That's the good. Okay, well, listeners, what did you think? No, that's okay. That's cool. That's cool because I think I'm so in love with Isaac that I'm trying to focus. I'm gonna tell you right now, Isaac can do no wrong in my eyes. I don't care who he kills this season. As long as it ain't Tom or Zenzi, I'm all for him. So get ready for that, listeners. Cool. Yeah.
Well, let me just say this because I'm gonna be the same way about Roman. So just be prepared.
Hey.
Like, I'm gonna be rooting for him to sabotage.
Yes. Oh man, and I like him. I like this. I don't want to say enemies to lovers because I don't know if it's that, but I do like this guy playing on the other side having this connection where we know that last scene showed me that there's going to come a time where he needs to either betray Congressman, generic evil white man, or betray his black king. But I'm ready for that because I'm gonna be just as stressed. I'm gonna be live tweeting through it. I'm gonna be upset, but I'm ready for that moment. Because Rowan,
baby, listen.
Yes. Listeners, who do you ship yourself with from this show? Because let me tell you,
who do you ship yourself with?
No, for real. I hope y'all tuning in because even just if you don't like the show, just put it on mute and look at these beautiful people. Do that because ain't no way. Oh my goodness, I didn't forgot what. Yeah, sure, great show.
Yes.
I think that was all I had initially. Is there anything else about the show, adjacent to the show, that you feel like hasn't been discussed, needs to be discussed, revisited, drop down, flip it, and reversed it? Any of that?
I'm glad that this show not only has like all this representation, so like on the camera, like from the characters, but I'm also like from the people behind the scenes, from the folks writing it and the actors and stuff themselves. Like I like that Isaac is clearly a trans character played by a trans man. I like that Tom Swift is a gay character played by a queer man. Like, I think that also needs to be like pointed out because that's something. Even as we start to get this representation in the character, particularly in like queer characters, like having these the people playing them, the people writing for them, also being queer, being black, of these experiences. That also is something that the show should be applauded for.
Absolutely, I agree. That the writing. Let's shout out to the Tom Swift Writers Room because whoever is running that account or whatever combination of writers, y'all are on one, and I love it. I love they do not be playing about the tweets, the gifs, the jokes. Like it's an account that I'm happy to follow. So kudos to them. Okay, so let's go into the last big part. Favorite character, favorite scene. In this first episode, do you have a favorite character? Can you pick out all these beautiful people? Is there a favorite?
So I feel like this is gonna be constantly going back and forth for me. Yes. I think for this one I'm gonna say Zenzi.
Okay.
Yeah, she's gonna be my favorite character because, like I said, that scene where she just stepped in and took the speech thing. That was good. Oh, do I want this scene too? Okay, So I'm not gonna make it just the Zenzi show. So
Yes.
I'm gonna say for my favorite scene, I really like the scene where Tom was breaking down with Isaac. I like that sort of like that vulnerability that he had, because from the beginning of the show, you have him. I'm Tom Swift, I'm that Tom Swift, I'm that guy. But like seeing him being vulnerable and really like with this person who seems to be really close with, I think that was really, really nice to see.
Absolutely. I agree. That oh God. Okay, here I go. Something that I enjoy seeing is black men embracing, and not necessarily romantically, just like even friends, like hugging, shaking hands, the closeness of like a friendship. And that scene, and not even the scene, just that portion where Tom starts crying and he lays his head down, that like whole combination, what was that? Probably was like maybe a minute, if that, of like actual on-screen scene. That is one of the most beautiful parts of this show to me, this episode. Like it's the aesthetic, them in all black, beautiful, visibly dark skin in features and complexion, men sharing this moment. And it could be read as a romantic thing later on, I'm sure, but it's like you're this person who is here for me. Like it's, I don't know. I'm rambling at this point, but that little portion for me excused any critiques that would be made of the show that would probably make a different person be like, oh, this ain't for me, forget this show. Like these little moments like that, and like Zenzi's speech, and the moment with Zenzi and Isaac dancing, like a lot of things, this episode was a collection of moments that I feel like really drive home experiences either that we've had or that you wish you could have had or that you're seeing more of now. Man, yeah, but I'll stop because I can go on for a whole nother hour. I'm battling between Isaac and Zenzi myself. Isaac purely because I'm attracted to Isaac and I would love to share some fries or something with Isaac. No, Isaac was great, but I would probably default to Zenzi as well. And like you said, because of that speech, I think having her be the first character we see coming in from Atlanta out that car and following her through the house is like, yeah, this was the Zenzi show. I mean, true enough, it's Tom Swift, but Tom, you ain't, and this ain't a dig at the show, but you ain't the most charming because Zenzi, y'all a package deal at this point. And so I gotta go with Zenzi as well. I really thoroughly enjoyed all of Ashley's acting during this episode. I really loved that funeral speech. I loved her getting in Tom's ass, even though that scene was kind of questionable. I enjoyed just her, period. I like her and her standing up for like, this, what you not gonna do, is this, that, and the third. So I really enjoyed her. And she was very much pushing, be for the people like your father would have been. Don't just be for yourself because you're so tunnel vision on this particular thing. So I'm gonna have to go with Zenzi as well for this episode and probably fight to not go for her for every single one.
I mean, I'm gonna be going between her and Rowan. I already feel it coming.
Oh, yeah. A favorite scene. I don't know if I have one. They're all so great. I think the scene with Rowan and Tom being like in those close quarters, hiding out from security or whatnot, like the entirety of this scene, from him pulling Tom into the I don't know, closet, making them get undressed, him tapping on his ear thing to talk to Barclay, them getting to the sneaking away and showing Rowan's nails, and him explaining like, hey, where I'm from, you don't see a lot of pretty things. I just like to be reminded of beautiful things.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, this whole espionage back end.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It also gave me one of my favorite lines from the episode where Tom was like, "Don't give me that strong silent top." I was like, "Wait."
Hey, he did say that with his whole chat. And that's another thing that I truly enjoy is that I like watching things that are made with the audience or the actors in the writers room, in the costuming and whatnot. So when I watch something like, let's say, Crazy Rich Asians, I want to know that it wasn't just Julia and Tom in the writers room. I want to know that there are Asian people who are giving me a full story. So much like that, I like that we have queer people in the back room putting in those little cultural things that like we're going to pick up on that maybe the general audience may not get. Or maybe they do with Drag Race and everything else. Maybe they do get it, but that was a favorite line of mine as well. So, this show, I'm all in, y'all. If it wasn't clear by creating the show,
y'all better get on the train.
Yeah, get on the good foot and do the bad thing, and that's watching Tom Swift every Tuesday live tweeting. Oh my goodness! So, what you got for us? Any closing thoughts? Anything else you want to say or mention?
Watch next week so we can talk about
it. There we go. We do have a few comments here, quite a lot. So let's go through.
Okay.
Oh, geez, okay. Well, let's start with Robert. Yes, Robert. Glad to see you reviewing the show. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I'm enjoying this. What else? Oh, let's go to the top. Lino. There we go, Lino. That's his name. Tom said everybody gonna benefit from this scheme. No, for real. That Tom giving this $20 million scholarship, and then also, like you said, dragging everybody into this scheme.
But also him saying for Black engineers. I want to point that out.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that was a focus of his, and I'm like, all right, more power to you. Okay, so we got TM being the lead with very Afrocentric features. Is one of the many reasons why I love this show. Hard agree.
Yes.
Hard agree. Also, him loving Black men is a plus too. We finally have a show that doesn't make Blackness and homosexuality seem exclusive of each other and how you live. Yes, indeed. That's one thing I truly enjoyed about this show is that Tom is Black. He's with a Black love interest. And then even the on-screen sex scene we get, which is very cable. So don't listen to this and think we're getting explicit app sex. It's not that, but there we go. And we're getting the same sex scenes that you would see with his heterosexual counterparts on any other CW show. So that part I did appreciate as well. Don't know if I would want to have it happen at a funeral, but here we are.
People grieve in different ways.
This is true. Let's see. T and Richard said he could relate to the paternal issues angle too. That's good to hear. Because that came from a place of understanding. I will say that scene was very much I've lived this or been very close to it. Let's see. Oh, okay. It was called The Road Back. Thank you. Yeah, it was The Road Back. Thank you so much, Andre Sante. There we go. Name because they're countering the foundation name of Harriet Tubman. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Come on now. Come on, Blacks. That is, it truly is. Thank you for that.
But it also brings up an issue that it's the white man that's being the face of this.
That's why. Look, I say Spike Lee. Well, generic white villain. I don't. That's something I'm so scared of because we get a lot of that already. Just because, whatever. And not to say it's not even untrue, but I don't want to keep seeing the same type of
we can have black villains. We can have black villains, y'all.
I would like that, yes. And I would like to, even if we're gonna get a white man, don't let him be the same suited up white man as we get in every other show. Like, give me some flamboyant ass Twink and Fire Island ass evil. Give me something different. So maybe the rollback killed Lino's parents, and that's why the dad knows what they are capable of doing. Come on, fan theories. That's interesting. Okay. And I'm gonna love this. Yes. Ashley Murray is a true goddess. Yes, you are absolutely right. There are no arguments here. Anybody who disagrees is incapable of taste. I'll say that. And I mean that. And like I said, Ashley, you're more than welcome on this show anytime. The entire cast. But yeah. Here you go. In reference to the Lanvin OnlyFans mask, next week Tom buys OnlyFans. I mean, we did mention that he watches porn. Barclay did say that, so who knows? Let's see. Okay, again, Robert. Yes, sir. We're glad to see you reviewing this show. Barclay was hacked when Tom was using him in the green screen. I didn't even. Okay. So, Andre says Barclay was hacked when Tom was using Barclay, and the screen glitched for a second. I think is what he said. He was breaking into their system when they hacked him. Remember right before the security walked in, and he was holding the phone. That makes complete sense. Jesus Christ, how did I miss it?
Shit, I missed it too. And that
how
also
did I miss it?
as to why, because when I rewatched it, I was like, how did they know he was in there? But if that's when they hacked him, that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. Oh, see, Rowan. Good Lord.
Set him up.
See? That strong, passionate top with his evil ass. And they made him a potential love interest for Tom. On top of that, people tend forget trans men exist when we discuss them. That's something else that from my perspective is true, is that when you do get the conversation of trans, it's always trans women. I never really hear, unless it's in the community, and even then it's not as from where I'm sitting, I see it as much as trans men being discussed in a lot of these conversations. So that's absolutely right. From my perspective, I do not see trans men in these conversations or discussed as much.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And they have gay and trans writers making the show. Yes. Oh, yes, indeed. Yeah. So that right there, that's what I'm saying, man. Even if this pilot wasn't the creme de la creme for you, like, there's so many other things for me that's working for the show that even if I didn't like the first episode, I would still tune in, not just out of blind obedience to like the gay overlords, nothing like that. It's just like there's so many boxes that are being checked where it's okay if they have a bad episode, and bad is subjective, but I think it's okay. Like it will live.
A lot of shows have bad episodes.
Yeah. Another thing, listeners. Andre also says a Zinzi focus episode feels inevitable. Yes. Yeah. What was she doing in Atlanta? Why was she in Atlanta? Who was she hanging out with? You know what I'm saying? Did she go to a Santana concert? Well, no, that's not. But, hey, shoot, is she a material girl? Like, she want a clothing allowance. So hey.
Listen.
Okay. Yeah, I always pronounce Andre's name correctly. That's a big thing for me. Side note, I was at work and my name was spelled incorrectly on some documents, and I'm like, hey guys, in the email it's spelled this way. How is this incorrect? And I'm one to advocate for saying, because I butcher everything. I will break down your name phonetically to make sure I'm saying it right. So yeah. And let's see. He also says, I watched this episode 4 times, so I caught everything. That's what I'm talking about. Super fan. Oh my God. Well, guys, this has been Decoding Tom Swift, episode 1. And come back here, meet us on Twitter on Tuesdays for the live tweet. Use that hashtag DTSPod. Yeah, because I'm letting the jokes, memes, and everything fly going forward. Like nobody is spared. Would you like to let these folks know how they can reach out to you, support you, and follow you for those Tuesday live tweets?
Oh yes. So yeah, find me on Twitter at Loose as a Deuce for the live tweets. I'm pretty much at Loose as a Deuce everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, all the places. Follow me. Let's talk. Let's chat. Tom Swift. And if you can get me closer to Rowan.
Hey, listen, look, I'll support that. Same here. Twitter, Carefree Blurred. Same name on TikTok, Carefree Blurred. Follow me there. Follow me on both platforms, and make this a conversation for sure. Instagram and all other stuff, CarefreeBlackNerd, but Carefree Blurred on Twitter and on TikTok. most immediate way to get in touch with me over there discussing this wonderful show. And if you need to email for whatever reason, maybe you got a little bit more to get off your chest, carefreeblacknerd@gmail.com. Please put Tom Swift or something Tom Swift in the subject so I'll know what you're referencing. And yeah, I don't know. If Isaac, Marquise, and Ashley, if y'all want to go and come on the show, you're more than welcome. We have a seat for you. Oh, man. So that's that. Well, one, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on and being on this journey with me, going through this show. Thank you. And then listeners, come on back, hit us with that live tweet. Come back on Thursdays for the live show, getting those comments, talk your mess, give your opinions. Even if you disagree with everything we say and you hate the show, still come on. Let's hear about it. We're going to tell you you're wrong, but let's hear about it. Until next time, guys, stay carefree, stay nerdy, stay geeky. And if you create a spaceship for your father to venture to another planet, please make sure the men in his circle aren't trying to kill him.
Please.
That's the takeaway from this episode. All right, y'all.